Today I'm going to give you a proper tutorial on how I glaze my charms using UV resin. I feel like I glaze a little differently. I use this drill. So today I'm going to go step by step in detail and hopefully some of you find it useful. The first thing I want to go through are the tools. For UV resin, you'll need a UV light to cure it. I use this nail lamp and it's 72 watts. I did used to own a 54 watt lamp and I found it left the charms tacky, so I recommend at least 72 watts. I mainly just use this 60-second timer setting while glazing. And the next tool I use, as I mentioned before, is the drill. This is just a cheap Aldi drill. I've got 2 batteries which I can interchange, which is good while glazing for long periods of time. I'll show you how exactly I put the charms in a bit later, but yeah, right now just a drill. Any drill will work, I assume. Next, I want to go through safety. So I use safety glasses and a mask. Now this is most important. My mask is quite an intense one, like it has all these filters. It covers everything practically, but best to be safe than sorry since I am glazing so much. Like I'm using resin more than the average person because I'm glazing for hours at a time. But yeah, this just goes over your face. It's very comfortable. It's really easy to breathe, so it's actually not too much of a bother to wear this. So most important, if you're going to be glazing a lot, highly recommend a mask and also some glasses for your eyes. The UV in this lamp is 400 nanometers, so you want to make sure that your glasses cover that. These ones do, so they block all the UV light to protect my eyes, since when I'm glazing the light is shining right at me. Next, on to the actual resin. I've only tried a couple of brands of resin, but I really like this one and it's most available to me here in Australia. I use the J Diction resin it's called hard type, and this works great. I just get it from Amazon, and if you're curious, by the way, all of the stuff I use I have linked on my Amazon storefront if you want the exact products. Now how I store it is in this food thermos container. It's just like the mini cup one, and I just pour this in here. This is amazing, I found, for storing resin because it's airtight, doesn't let the temperature affect it, and also it's light proof, so I really like storing it in this food thermos. I've never had any resin go to waste. Also on materials, I use some tools. I use these tweezers occasionally, these really cheap ones, if there's like a bond hair out on the loose. Sometimes I use these to pull the pin out at the end. I don't really use these tools, they're just there. My most used tool is this silicone tool. I saw it in a very janky way, but it works. You could probably say it's barely silicone now. It's like all resin because I never clean it either. And another one I use is this, it's actually a dental tool, and it's good for getting into really small gaps, like pushing the resin through. I also use foil to protect my desk and all my work surfaces. And finally, I also use this mini Dremel just to buzz off any bits of dust, along with a makeup brush, which is really good at removing all the sanding dust and cornstarch from baking the charms. I also recommend sanding sometimes because the resin can like separate if the clay is too oily, so sanding helps the resin stick onto the polymer clay better. So the reason I glaze is not only just for this pretty shiny effect, but also to protect all the details on the charms. As you can see, this unglazed girl has all these tiny clay details, and if she's left like this, they would flick off, like on your keys or bag. And basically UV resin just locks that all in. I like my glaze to be super even and thin across the whole charm, as well as I like to have no seams. So I've developed a bunch of tricks to make sure it's pretty foolproof and comes out like this all the time. So for this glazing technique, you'll need some long pins like these, and they go into the top of the charm like this. I place these in before baking, so they're quite stuck in there, but you'll want to make sure that your pins aren't bent like this, as the charm will probably flick off when you start to spin it in the drill. You want to place your pin always in the middle of your charm, especially if it has some weight. These mini charms I place off to the side because it doesn't really matter, but ones with weight, definitely in the middle. To remove Bon because she can't be in here with all the fumes. I'll put you in a really comfy spot. Here. Obviously there's UV and sunlight, so the most important thing is to have a dark room. So I just close this. Now we're ready to go. All these normal lights are totally fine though. Remove the dust. Ideally, I like the resin half full, so the charm can be fully submerged but has room to spin above the resin level to flick off all the excess. So as you can see, it's a little bit below half, so I'm just going to top it up like a little bit. Just make sure there's no bits going into your resin because I've poured it with bits in it before and I had to fish them all out. Seems good. That's now ready to go. We're just going to do this girl first. I like to give her a final dusting just to make sure all this like sanding marks won't matter because the resin will like bring all the color back. Okay, and then I get my drill. So I insert that in like that. Then tighten around. You want to get it like pretty centered. And then tighten. And you should be able to spin the charm without this pin moving at all. And that's how you know it'll be pretty solid. Okay, so she's ready to go. Now essentially the motion will be is dip into the resin, then pull her up, then spin her for about 10 seconds, and then that's when I go in with all my fine tools and push the resin around. Since resin's a little bit thick, so sometimes it doesn't like to flow into all the tiny gaps. Real. Take that. All freshly glazed, but sometimes they're like a tiny bit tacky, so I just set them on their front and back for a little bit longer to make sure they're fully set. Just removing their pins, I twist and then pull. They come out pretty easy. I replace the pins because, as you can see, there's all resin on the pin and it looks a bit gross. So I rather put in fresh new ones and they become an actual charm. Everyone involved. Here's what the bag is looking like. This is crazy. So now lastly, it's time to put the pin in to make her a proper charm. I use these little screw pins. For this step, we'll need the drill again, a super tiny drill bit for the hole in her head, and then finally the threaded eye pin. So I'm just gonna put this in the drill. As you can see, she already has a little hole in her head from the pin, so I'm just gonna place the drill in there. It was kind of just sit there. Then hold her tightly and slowly drill in. You don't have to go that far in, like so. And then now we have a hole. Put the pin in. And now there's a tiny bit of excess resin bunching up around the pin, so I'll just get a knife and cut that off. This is the knife I just use on all my clay, like to pick up pieces, but I also use it just to cut off any excess resin around the pin. And just flick off. Then for the final, for extra security, this is pretty strong, but just to stop it from twisting, you can use super glue, or I like to use another blob of resin just over this hook. I just use one of the old pins that has all the resin on it, just to blob on this final bit. Dip in, so a little blob, and then I go over the pin. Over this bit here, just to lock that all in place. Usually I do them all at once, but we just have one for now. And so I'll put her in the light. So this is what she looks like after the blob has been placed over the pin, and it doesn't move at all. I'm not going to put all the pins in these ones now though, because I'm making this charm bag, so I'm not too sure where the pins are going to be yet. Like, they're going to be sticking out everywhere because they're going to connect like this. So we'll see.
That's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments below and I'll try to get back to all of them. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.